In this demonstration, we'll see how Forcepoint ONE helps organizations provide threat protection from unknown zero-day malware while also enabling productivity. John Smith is a vendor manager who needs to download a pricing list from an external vendor's website as part of a procurement activity. In terms of policy, Agency X has adopted a policy that allows file downloads on managed devices for work purposes. The challenge here is twofold. One, how to provide access to external sites that could deliver malicious exploits, and two, how to secure any downloaded files that can contain malicious code. Let's take a look at how Forcepoint ONE can help. Here are the components that will be used from Forcepoint ONE to follow the policy. In this case, John is going to have the vendor's website safely rendered on his device from a remote web session with Forcepoint ONE remote browser isolation. When he downloads the price list he's looking for, any unsafe content is removed by Forcepoint ONE's Content Disarm and Reconstruct, or CDR technology. Let's look at what threat we'll be mitigating with Forcepoint ONE and RBI with CDR capabilities. For this demonstration, we're going to be using a file that contains code that acts like malware for demonstration purposes. The PDF file behaves normally in most ways. But if the user mouses over this area of the PDF, a code runs that could be malicious. This is an example of how a covert malicious channel could be opened or have malicious files downloaded to their device. Okay, now let's look at how John's device is protected from such attacks using remote browser isolation and Content Disarm and Reconstruction through Forcepoint ONE. John is on a managed laptop here with a Forcepoint ONE agent installed and remote browser isolation enabled. In this example, RBI has been configured to be invoked for this particular website. The website is the same one we viewed at the introduction that contains the malicious file download. Note that the URL shows the traffic being routed through Forcepoint ONE remote browser isolation. When John tries to access the site, Forcepoint ONE informs him that in order to view the website, he will need to connect to an RBI session. Once connected, John's browsing will take place in an isolated Chromium container. John is still able to view the website, but the traffic is being redirected to the Forcepoint ONE RBI remote session. The RBI session is protecting John's device from any malicious web-based threats. Notice the icon that displays here informing John that his browsing is currently being protected by Forcepoint ONE RBI. By clicking on the link icon, John can see the current risk score associated with the site and the category determined by Threat Seeker. Clicking on the information icon lets John see further details about the session, like the session ID and the IP address that are being used. Everything that John is interacting with in this web page is coming from the remote isolated container, not John's actual device that he's currently using. Now let's look at what happens when John interacts with the price list containing the malicious code. John is able to view the PDF document and the malicious code may run, but only in the isolated container. John's laptop device is safe from the malicious code. Now let's look at what happens if John wants to download the file to his laptop. With Content Disarm and Reconstruction enabled in RBI, John can download the file, but any malicious code will be removed in the process. Before the file is downloaded, the business information is extracted and any malformed or malicious code is removed before the file is reconstructed. Because the malicious code does not fit the definition the CDR capability has for PDFs, it is removed in the process. John retrieves the downloaded file from the Downloads folder, and hovering over the area of the PDF that originally triggered the malicious code, John does not get a dialog prompt because the malicious code has been completely removed. All other aspects of the document behave and display as intended. Let's review what we just saw. John needed to download a pricing document from his managed device, which has a Forcepoint ONE agent installed. He headed to the vendor site that has the document he needed, and Forcepoint ONE remote browser isolation rendered the site on a remote container, protecting the agency from any potential malware. When John downloaded the PDF, the CDR capability removed the hidden malware that was in the document, reconstructing it into a clean, fully functional file. Forcepoint ONE is able to deliver comprehensive web protection and enable user productivity without friction.